Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I am with Myke Holdren today of Don't Tread on Me Kydex holsters. So in my other video, I had said that I just got my NSR tactical holster that it took a year for me to get in hand. I ordered it in August of 2020 and it arrived in September of 2021. So I thought, why in the hell does it take so long to make a holster? So I ordered that holster in August of 2020, and the website, yes, it does say 10 plus week lead time. And I thought, okay. So once it got around, I think it was January, February, I thought, all right, where is this holster at? So I sent an email asking for a status update on my order and was told that it was in production. Okay, so I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And then finally, in August of 2021, almost, coming up on almost exactly 1 year later, I sent another email asking, hey, I want to get the status update of this holster. And then they responded to me, and they sent me a photo of the holster after it had come out of the mold, and they said it's in production, should be done soon. And then I got another photo or a message saying that it had been made and they'd be sending it out. And then I got the email notification saying that a tracking number had been created. And then like a day or two later, I checked the updates on it, and it's in the system actually, and then it's on the way to Bowling Green, and then September 4th it arrives. And I was thinking, why does it take so long to make a holster? And they are a larger company, and so I'd imagine they probably do have a lot of orders, but I still find it a little difficult to believe that it takes so long to make a holster. And inside the NSR Tactical group on Facebook, people have talked about how long it takes before. Actually, the owner of the company made a post once and said, stop complaining about the wait times on them, etc., and had mentioned that these are custom holsters, and if you want something quicker, order from Quick Ship, and Quick Ship will order faster or come to you faster. And then for custom orders, if you're wanting your order to get to you sooner, you can pay some extra money to expedite that order. I did not like that response, which I never reached out and bugged people about the holster other than that January or February time frame where I asked for a status update. But I knew that if I had reached out and said, hey, where's my holster? I'd like to get my holster. I knew that I would most likely be given the response of, well, you can expedite your order by paying a little bit extra money. And I never liked that idea. I kind of really, I really thought that was synonymous with fucking extortion. Like, hey, we got your money for this thing, and it's damn near a year out, half a year out, and we still haven't sent it to you, but you can go ahead and send us some more money to get it to you quicker. I don't like that. I think that's totally fucked, in my opinion. So, I'm here with Myke Holdren today, and he's going to go through making a Kydex holster. So, Myke.
Alright, so obviously you have a Glock 17, and for all those safety freaks out there, it is unloaded. Alright, this right here is the mold for a Glock 17, and it's actually, I could actually take his light off and turn and put it over here, but I'm not going to mess up his setup on here. If I would have this light, I could put it on here, but I'm just going to use his gun. Let's say I don't even have this mold, so I'm just going to take this gun, set it up, prep it up so it is ready to go into the press to make the holster. Alright, so
starting this process, it is 8:50 in the morning on September 5th.
Alright, so all of our wonderful blocking tools here. And then a lot of these, like sometimes I might end up having to modify one or two, but still, 1 year.
Here's another mold that I just pulled off his shelf. You can see this comes from whatever vendor this comes from, made up to where once you heat up those Kydex sheets, you just put it on there and it conforms to this mold that's already made.
Now, like that mold, the mold of the Glock 17 I got there, they come from different companies. There's like 3 or 4 different companies out there that have their own little design. One is better than the other, but it also depends on who you talk to. Molds, guns, holsters, everything is whatever you own at that time is the greatest thing in the world. It's the old argument of Glock and 1911 or 40 and 9mm argument.
Here's a mold for a magazine with bullets in it.
Now, the other holster that you were talking about earlier, that is a split mold vacuum. Okay, it's made by using a vacuum. I don't have the vacuum set up. It's expensive to get into, and you have to dump a lot of money into the system to get the vacuum mold, and then to buy the molds itself. How many people carry a Glock 17 with this type of light on it? So
with the switch.
With the switch. So you have all these little things here that makes it a totally different gun than like just buying something like this and adding the pieces on there. Does it do a faster job? Yes. Am I willing to spend X amount of money on one mold that I'll probably never make my money off that mold? No. So since he has his gun, I'm just going to use his gun.
I would say that this is probably going to be the one thing that makes this process the longest. Like if it weren't for me having, the light on there with the DevGru switch or whatever, the one-handed grip switch on there. If it was just a simple, if I just carried just a Glock 17 with nothing on it, then this process would be like way faster. So this is probably the thing that's going to make this thing last the longest.
So I do see that you're timing me. Do I have a year to finish this?
I got some shit to do. I don't know if I can stand here for a whole year.
I mean, I understand it takes a year to train a person.
Yeah, so that was one of the comments in the group was it takes a long time to train someone how to do this. See if I can find the screenshot. Yes, so the comment was, it takes years to train someone to do this job, and the profit margin on holsters is shit. Your opinions sound good in theory, but don't apply practically. And that was to someone who was responding to that post that was made on that page. And I don't have the full screenshot of what that person had made the comment of, but I just screenshotted the part that says it takes years to train someone how to do this. So when you became interested in making Kydex holsters, how long did it take you to figure out how to do this? Because you had never I'm assuming.
No, I've never made holsters beforehand. I never worked with another company. I never trained under someone else on this. I have been carrying a gun on me for 27 years. I have used multiple different companies. Matter of fact, my Glock 19, my everyday carry, up until a little while ago, the holster that I carry, it isn't even mine. It was a friend of mine that was making holsters, and he made me one, and I've been carrying his. Do I not trust my product? No, I keep with what works, and I know how much how much time he put into it. I know how much money went into it, and the gun works. I make holsters for other people. The one I carry on me right now, the Glock 43, I made that myself, and I made hundreds of other holsters for other people. I've yet to have anyone complain or bring a holster back to me about it. So that is that.
So with inside the waistband holsters, or even outside the waistband holsters, of course, there's different materials, leather holsters, and then you've got your nylon holsters. So leather holsters, in my opinion, should only be outside the waistband holsters if you're going to go with leather. I don't think leather should ever be an option for inside the waistband. And same with nylon. I don't really see, with technology the way it is today and whatnot, why anyone should still be rocking some kind of nylon holster. But if you was going to be rocking nylon, then I would say that it should only be outside the waistband, never inside the waistband, because once you take the gun out, the holster collapses on itself. And depending on the thickness of the leather, I would say that even leather to some degree can still collapse on itself a little bit. So for inside the waistbands, Kydex, it doesn't collapse. You put quite a bit of pressure on. You can stand on one of these holsters and they're not going to collapse on themselves. So inside the waistband, Kydex, I think, is the way to go. And when it comes to Kydex itself, where does the Kydex come from?
Kydex basically has like 2 or 3 companies that make it. It's all basically the same thing. Then multiple vendors get it, but then majority of the people that buy the product, they buy it from one place. I buy my product the same place that a lot of people do, and same place that NSR gets their stuff. So, and it can be purchased online in bulk or piece by piece.
You got one of those sheets down there below you?
That's carbon fiber.
So this is so you order a package of these?
Yes.
And so the people who make Kydex, there's like 2 or 3 companies that make this stuff, and then they, of course, have vendors who carry their products?
Yes.
All right, so the company that I use currently right now, the CompTac, so whoever they got their Kydex from is probably one of the same people that you get your stuff from.
Yeah, it's kind of like gas, man. You can get it from all kinds of different companies, but at the end of the day, it all comes from the earth. You know,
all natural.
It's all natural. It comes from the earth. All right, so every company, the basic buildup of these things is the same for what we use, and there's probably someone out there saying, I don't know what I'm talking about, but when you break it down, it is. That's exactly what it is. It's still the same. It's all from the same place, basically the same company. Now, as you see right here, this is where I've made pieces for other guns, and I got all these little pieces around here. And now, all right, I got to find something for just to fit up in here. So now I got to do a little customization work. I'm going to step off screen. You're going to hear some noise. We can do this.
So it doesn't matter, you know, which holster company you buy from. They all pretty much get the Kydex from the same damn places. So it doesn't matter if it's Comtac, NSR, Alien Gear, what's the T-Rex Arms, Folster, what are some other ones?
Green Force Tactical.
Green Force Tactical. Like all those holster companies, when they buy Kydex, they get them in these little sheets like this. How many come in a bundle?
How many ever you order. Faltech is a buddy of mine. He makes holsters. He orders them in huge sheets, but he also has a big enough area in his shop. Iggy has basically a huge building, and we talked, and I told him something one time, and in 72 hours, I want to say, I might be wrong in this conversation, but he filled an order of like a couple of hundred holsters, mass production of them, and this is how it starts right here. He taped up the holster. He got it all ready. I mean, he taped up the gun, and then he heated it up. While he was heating up, he was cutting on them, grinding on them, doing whatever he needed to do. Come out, he'd throw it in the mold. He would just continue on that way, and he would go until he can't go no more. He'd stop, clean up a little bit, and then he'd make some more. But the guy made hundreds of holsters within a couple of days. So, and plus custom orders too.
So like stuff he didn't even have a mold for.
Yeah, custom orders, and he had to order molds. He's got a flashlight collection that's bigger than mine. I had a bunch of people ask for Olight, so I went off and I bought this. And this is not cheap. I mean, I had one guy that wanted this one. That was it, just wanted this one. So I went off and bought that. I still basically have not made my money back off of this one here. But they work. The lights still work. They probably are dead. But they still work. I could sell them if I wanted to, or make more later on. It all depends on what's on hand. So
now the hardware. So like these loops that I got, and then the struts that you had the struts. Had gotten. Do those, like, how many different companies make these things?
Well, these are actually NSR's line of struts.
Okay.
But there are like a lot of other companies that's all they do is they mass produce parts, and every company is kind of different. Like these are G codes, for paddle holsters, and then these are the metal clips for holsters, because people, they don't understand the loops versus the clips, so they want the clips, and if I'm going to build you one with a clip, I'm going to build you one with a metal one, and then they're like, well, is there any way we could go cheaper? And I'm like, okay, you want to go cheaper, let's go with plastic, and this plastic one's probably the worst design I've ever seen, because plastic bends over time, and everyone grabs a hold of that hook and pulls it up, where metal doesn't do that. What's the price difference? Cents. Like cents. 50 cents maybe. Okay, spend a little bit more, go with the metal one versus losing your gun. These right here versus this right here is in dollars. This is about $15 right here versus $3. But I'm not going to lose my gun with this, where this can make it come off a lot easier.
Yeah.
But it's on what the customer, and it's on what the customer wants. So I make my suggestion, they look at the price, and I can tell who is trained and who isn't trained just by their reaction of going, I want the loops, I want soft loops, I want the retention, I want black Kydex. When you start asking for certain colors and designs and stuff, like Ryan Upchurch, I did some custom holsters for him. This is his custom pattern design that I did for Ryan, and they're like, oh, look at that. Well, a true person that has training knows that it's black, because no one's going to see the holster.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that always kind of tickled me when people are like, oh, I got this toxic green holster and this and that and this. I'm like, who the fuck's ever going to see it?
And then you could tell who is trained and who's not trained when they get their holster, when they do something like this in a gun store. Hey, let me show you my holster, man. It's like, dude, did you just honestly just pull your gun out and then they put it all back together and put it on inside the store? I work in a gun store, it happens all the time. Alright, so now we got a piece of Kydex. We're going to check it out. That looks good enough. Alright, now we need to readjust and move. So,
okay.
Reset up camera.
Alrighty. We'll just move the camera instead of turning it off and all that stuff. Readjust. So what do we got up here?
Alright. This is just a toaster oven. I got this off of someone that was free. Now, this here, the Kydex, was heated up by a press, okay, a shirt press. It is a little bit faster, okay. This right here is just a regular old toaster oven. Turn it on, let it hang out for a little bit. There are so many different ways to heat up Kydex, but any which way it can be done. It's whatever is in your budget. I myself, I hate being in the red. I don't like being broke in a situation. I like money. I like making money. So, like my expensive press. Okay, this is the press that I put the Kydex in to press and make to form it. Again, these sheets this right here, these little things, same company. Same company that makes it. That sells it. They make them. I buy them like everyone.
What time did we say we started? 8:50?
Yeah, about 8:50 or so.
Alright, so now we're at this mark here.
And these here, longer you leave a gun in there, they longer it presses in. These don't last forever. You have to change them out.
So this pressing method and then the vacuum method.
Speed.
Yeah, speed. So, I mean, I guess it may be hard to say, like, which is used more, press or vacuum?
Press.
Press?
Yeah. Vacuum is a specialty. If I had to make 40 of these holsters in a row for whatever reason, the vacuum would be easier, because by the time I put a piece on, I take it off, I drop it on the gun, I hit the vacuum seal, I could put another piece on there, be heating up. When this one is done and cooled off, I knock it out, I set the mold back down there, this piece is done. It is a production line, okay? Since I only need one of these, this is it. And even if you wanted to do 2 or 3 of them, this would be more on the profit margin of it. The vacuum press is really nice, but a mold for just this type right here, the way it's all set up, you're looking at about $190 down. So $190 depends on what company, all the way down. I've seen people make them for a lot cheaper, because then not only do you have the vacuum seal, and it's 2 sides. It is this side of the gun this way, this side of the gun this way. They drop the Kydex on top, they put a rack up, and it vacuum seals it down, and then they fold it in half. Where this process here, you're gonna see, I'm gonna do it all in one shot. Temperature check. It's like a pizza, you gotta rotate it. And as you seen, when it went in there, it was hard. When it's about to come out, it's about to be a lot flimsier.
A lot more flaccid.
I had someone tell me the quality the quality of holsters versus this other company, the look of my holsters versus this other company, the price of it versus this other company, and I'm like, my prices was the exact same as yours. Mine included shipping. Okay, yours didn't. And the time period, 10 weeks. There are people I know and I've met in my lifetime never keep a gun past 10 weeks. So by the time they order a gun, order a holster, by the time it gets to them, the gun's already gone. They already sold it. Find that little sweet spot.
What's the sweet spot?
That's a secret. That's a secret to everyone. Every holster maker has their sweet spot. Some are hot, some are cold. Come on. And this gives you a workout.
All right, so you use these two foam pieces and you press this into it. Of course, that foam is going to conform to the mold of the gun and the light and everything, and just press that malleable Kydex around it.
Yes. So what happens now is the Kydex at a certain temperature, and now I wrapped it around it. I'm pressing against the Kydex into the gun itself, and now it's cooling off. Okay, so while it's in here, it's actually cooling down, and it's cooling back to this. Now, if there is a mistake, let's say I did a little overachievement on it, or something is out of place, then all I have to do is heat the Kydex back up, throw it back in the oven, and remake it. The only thing you can't do to Kydex is add to it when you cut it. So once you cut it, you can't stretch the Kydex anymore. So you got to make sure you're good on your measurements.
All right, now how long does the cool down process take?
Anywhere. It all depends on what time of the day it is. Like today, I'm going to give it about 5, maybe 10 minutes. When I'm out here at night, it's like 2 or 3 beers. It varies on things. Just kidding. Yeah, about 5 minutes, and then when I pop it open, I'll play with it with my hands and see how hot it is. And
now, you had mentioned something earlier about someone who told you how your holster, its appearance-wise, looks different from some other holsters. What do you mean by that?
Okay, he was trying to say because he worked for this company, that his company that he works for is better than me. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Let's see here. You work for a company. It's not yours. This is my company. This is what I do. Every holster maker is completely different. If you take 20 holsters and set it onto the table, and you take 5 of the holster makers, they'll be able to go in there and be like, yeah, this was my holster. I made this. This was my design. Every holster is completely different. People are worried about the lines, worried about the polished edges. It's in your pants, man. No one's going to see the polished edges. So it's not really that big of a deal. I worry about, does the gun hold in place? Is the trigger covered? Does it snag coming in and out of the holster? Do you hear the click? And the click is like the most important thing on a lot of guns, and it's where the retention is. On a holster like this, the bezel is going to be the retention. There's also another spot on there that I'll show you where it's going to hold the gun in place, so it's just not going to fall out.
So yeah, you mentioned, putting 20 different company holsters on a table. I guess at first, way back in the day when I first started, you don't know what you don't know, and I fell victim to
the
fanboy brand name, just like in other shit, like other people, they got to wear that certain clothing brand. I remember, back in high school, I had to have the Nautica and the Tommy Hilfiger and shit like that. And I remember having a pair of shorts, and they were like Ralph Lauren shorts or something like that, and they just tore up like quick. Just wasn't doing hardly anything with them, and they just ripped very easily. They didn't last very long. And then, wearing something from like Walmart or something like that, and there's, really not that much hell of a difference in it. And then going into the holsters, of course, starting out way back in the day, I was a dumbass and got a Phobos holster. Like I say, you don't know what you don't know. Realized over time that was not the greatest choice. But having other holsters or whatever, in terms of Kydex, I always thought, it's got to be this one particular brand that I got to get, or else it's not going to be good. And it's really just like the clothing stuff. Like, I got to have the Tommy Hilfiger brand. Okay. Well, the Walmart pants are just as good. Same thing with, like work pants, like 511 pants versus the Gauls Distributors pants. I used to wear 511 a lot. Those things are freaking expensive. And the Gauls pants are way cheaper, and they last just as long and work just as well. So it took a little bit. I want to say it took a little bit, but when it comes to the Kydex holsters, I've come to the full realization that it doesn't necessarily really matter where or who it comes from. They're almost virtually all the same. At least the material is. Now the mounting stuff is obviously different. So like you alluded to earlier, loops versus those little plastic clips or whatever. That makes a difference in a good holster. But as far as the Kydex material itself, whether it's pressed or vacuumed, and even the hardware to some extent and what goes on it, it's all the fucking same. From company A, B, C, D, F, G, all the way to X, Y, Z, it's all the freaking same. So really, I guess the major difference that you're getting out of these different companies is what? The polishing on it?
The polishing, the look. Now.
And the logo, the brand name?
Yeah, the logo, the brand name. Now, I'm not gonna tell you to stop. I'm not gonna tell you to redo anything. But I did catch myself in a mistake. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the mistake was this end of the flashlight was sticking out too far. I actually, when I look at lining things up, I look at this piece up here. I completely forgot about that. But you see the time period in this, we can redo this.
Okay. And the time period is, bring this up, 9 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I said 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's we're at 9:21.
9:21. And would this work? Would this work? Yes, it would. This would end up be riding into you every once in a while. All I would have to do is really, to save this piece of Kydex, is just start heating it back up.
Just save it?
Yeah, just save it. Because that's all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this here and unbend it. Oh, little tack tip. If your holster is getting too loose, heat this piece up here and you can watch it's collapsing on the bottom. But you heat it up too much, then you throw it all out of whack.
if you needed to heat it up, could you just take the screws out and put it in the microwave for 5 seconds?
I wouldn't do that. And as you see, it's laying back down. Okay. So this is what it looked like after they got it off the vacuum seal. All right. They threw it on there. They vacuum sealed it. There's this little line right here that's in there. So when they fold it over, they will have their deal. And that was just an honest oversight, because I don't ever do that many with flashlights on the end. So where the vacuum seal does help out versus a press is you can't really see it over here, and you can't really see it over here is where the retention screw would be. But there's still enough room in there to do what you need to do. It's just not the perfect looking line. And that's one of the biggest things I see on people is they're like, well, that line's slightly off. But the gun fits in there and it doesn't move, it doesn't rattle back and forth, and the retention is there. So, and as you see, it's back to hard again. So all I have to do is just throw this in the microwave. Oop, look how flimsy it is. Microwave, toaster oven, I should say.
Okay.
Back out of the mold. Now, make sure that is correct on there. Pull tight. Burn hand. Dinner's done. Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone out there is watching this, you want to get into Kydex holster making, you will starve. But also never cook out of the oven after you put Kydex in there. Don't ask me how I know. I didn't do it, someone else did. Heated up their sandwich in there, got really, really sick.
Okay, what else was I wanting to say? There's had a list of things to talk about. Oh yeah, so one of the last things we mentioned was, 20 different holsters from different companies on the table. Really, the only discernible difference between them all is A, if there's a logo on them, and then B, that particular company and their workers on how they design that particular holster, the shape of it, and then how it's cut and how it's polished. Because all the material's the same. All the Kydex is the same. Comes from the same places. The hardware that goes on it, the clips and the screws and the little what are it called, rubber washers, grommets, whatever the hell is.
Just all the little pieces. You could buy them basically all the same places, and a lot of these screws were not just Kydex. Wasn't made just for Kydex. They were made for other things out there in the world, and Kydex and holster builders adopted them in. Rivets. These little rivets here, they've been around for a long time. I've seen people use them on leather, and
actually, I think that holster I've got, the Comtac on the struts on the back side, you can see the rivets.
Yeah. So, and then this one here has hex heads, and this here had hex heads on there. Versus I use Phillips because Phillips is easier to get a hold of in case you have to do a fix of something.
Yeah, that holster. It's funny you say that. That Comtac holster I've got. The package it came with, of course, it had a little Ziploc baggie with the business card in there that had these two little holes with a little hex screw or hex tool in there, so that you could tighten your holster up over time. When it comes a little bit loose. And so I have to keep that place in my one of my gearboxes. And if I lose that damn thing, well, then I gotta go find a hex set and go through and figure out which size I need to tighten up a screw if I need to.
Mm-hmm. Allen wrenches and hex heads are unique. Someone can't really just damage it, disconnect it without it. But in a pinch, in certain situations, Phillips is always a go-to. I prefer a flathead. That's a mechanic's tool, because like gunsmithing, screwdrivers, mechanics, electricians, they're all different sizes. And people think I just go to Walmart and buy some screwdrivers and take a gun apart, and they can't figure out why the screws are messed up, because they're all different sizes. Same thing with these. There's all kinds of different screws for all different situations. Watched a video the other night. The guy was giving a demonstration on how to make a holster, and he was talking about the size of the screws, the different things that he uses, and I'm sitting there thinking, I just use what fits, on there. What do I have right then and there? Because yes, these holsters should come out all the same, but a lot of times they don't. They don't always come out the exact same when you bend them. So you have to have a variety of screws. That's where your money's at. Just having the screws and the hardware. And yes, you can buy from a cheaper company and get a cheaper product, but trust me, those companies that do a cheaper product, they don't stick around too long. I've been doing this for a year now, and a year now is basically paid for this building and all my
years,
goals.
like singular, not plural.
Singular, just 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it didn't take you years to learn how to do this.
No, it took me a year to basically pay for everything that's in here by making my holsters. It only took me month, maybe 2 months to figure out all my mistakes on my holsters, and I got a bunch of them. I got a box full of messed up holsters over there. And
so you said you never worked for a holster company before, never did anything, and you did your research, figured out how to do this.
Yes. You research, you try it, you fail, you try it, you fail. Like this. This is a reminder.
It's like some fucking beef jerky.
Yeah. This is a reminder of not leaving a piece of Kydex in the... No, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. It was this one here. Something like this. Yeah, you don't walk away from the oven when it's on, and that's what it turns into. That is non-recoverable. That was a sheet of Kydex. Yeah. And I leave it up here. I leave it right where I can find it every time to remind me not to walk away from the oven. All right, let's see what we got in the press today.
Now I remember reading several years back. When I say several years, I mean like several years back. People making their own Kydex stuff, and so there's people who do this from a business standpoint, and then there's people who do it as a hobby. They buy their own sheets, and they can just, make Kydex things for their own family and in different selves.
That's what I got into it for. I am a firearms instructor. I have been for 20-some years. I carried a gun for 20-some years. I have trained for 20-some years. I ordered a holster from someone, and he told me it will be 8 weeks. I ordered another holster from another guy, and I ordered another holster from another person, and then I called the guy, and he goes, "Yeah, I'll have it to you by this weekend." So I was just like, that's hilarious. All these big companies. Yes, I understand you do have a workload behind you, but you got a lot of holsters to make. But when I order a holster 1 week, and then 2 weeks later I order another holster, and my order numbers are only 5 apart, 5 numbers off. And 5 numbers off, and you're telling me it's going to be 8 weeks? No, man. I'll make it myself. And then I made one for me, and then I had some other friends hit me up, and I had some other friends hit me up, and so I started making holsters. I started ordering. I do not have a website. I do have a Facebook page. But a lot of my orders are from my students, from customers that come into my business, my other business I work at, and I stay busy between teaching, holsters, and other things. I don't really have that much time after work to do anything. And all I'm doing here is, you see the final little deal, is, yes, on a press mold, when you have this much girth right there, it doesn't get around to this part this easy. So I'm just tightening this up while it's still warm. Just to...
So on guns that don't have a light on them, the clicking for that most Kydex holsters, when they go in, they click in place. That retention is, correct me if I'm wrong, most of the time it's the trigger guard?
Yes, the trigger guard. That's where you want the click. That's where you want the retention at. Once you get that click, and the reason of the click, this is what a lot of people don't understand about holsters, is my head is up. My gun comes out, and I hear it. I know my gun is secured. Versus these people that slide their gun in. I'm not going to do it because my gun is loaded, and always is loaded, but I've seen people start tucking it in with their shirt, and they don't hear that click, and that's where you start having issues of where your gun comes out. Now, here is difference in Kydex. He probably used a different type of Kydex because there's like different colors of it. Alright.
I mean, from standing where I'm at, right behind the camera, I mean, it looks almost virtually the same. I guess the closer you get, you can just tell differences in the composition of it.
So,
because I would say probably on camera, people aren't going to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, and then we go into the forming of it, and this is where I have seen a lot of interesting things happen with people of getting measuring tools out. You know, they're measuring, they got like 20 different things. I myself
just eyeball it.
Freehand it sometimes. And then you doing half shield?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
So yeah, I guess maybe I forgot to mention this. So this particular holster that I ordered from NSR, it took a year to get to me. I told Myke, I said, I want a holster that's almost similar to it, if not exactly like it, just to see how long it actually takes to make the damn thing. So that's what he's doing right now, is he's tracing out the Kydex, the excess stuff that needs to be cut off.
All right, now we go to cutting. All right, so now I'm gonna cut it, and yeah, all you little safety Nazis, have fun with it.
Now that excess stuff you just cut off, is it ever able to be reused for something?
No. Usually this much we're cutting off, it is completely scrap. There's nothing really you can recycle or do. I do little trinket things on the side, key holders, things like that, but they don't really sell. But I do make some little thing for it. On like the high vis orange that I had, I made a bunch of key tags for people, so they wouldn't lose their keys.
So there's a lot of waste involved with making a holster.
Alright, now we got just the rough look of things, and now I compare sides, see how much if I need to take some more off. Then we're going to go down to the sander for a minute. Knife. Never cut on the gunners on the gun. Don't ask me how I know. Now you're saying there was a lot of waste, yes. All this tape, all the tape, all the Kydex, but like all the little pieces I use to prep the gun, I reuse those. But there's a lot of waste in
like that little metal rod or whatever.
Yeah. This here I designed to fit almost any type of gun that's out there. And a lot of, you can order a lot of this, but a lot of it comes from you have to have a little bit of knowledge and engineering behind you on there. Okay, so now I check, okay? Can my finger touch the holster? Yes, but that's about to get taken off, okay? That's going to be taken off. Now I do a check. Alright, now we're going to knock off all the little sharp pieces.
Alright, can I get a close-up of... So, you cut it out and then you basically sanded to make it more, symmetrical, I guess?
Yeah, just to even out the edges, because when I go to this here, every once in a while, one side will get a little bit further than the other one. Mm-hmm. And even like right here, you can kind of tell, because I didn't hit that area too well, but I'll catch it up.
Get a close-up of all the burrs, and so after it's cut, it looks this rough.
Yeah, it looks this rough, and that's just because of the heavy-duty grinder on there. I could sit there and go through the process of changing out, but this is the reason why you have this one here. Now, watch here.
So as an update, we are 5 minutes away from a 1 hour mark. And I would say really the only reason it took this long is because of the little hiccup earlier where the Kydex didn't cover the bezel of the flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the part really where the craftsmanship comes out, like a person's attention to detail about how the corners are all nice and even looking. And
yes, this is the difference between someone carries a gun on a daily basis versus someone that makes holsters. Okay, I'm hitting key points on this. I'm thinking, if I have this gun, wherever I have this gun, what's going to dig into me? Like, I'm going to hit this edge along here to make sure there ain't a sharp point. I'm going to run my fingers over this part in case the person that has the gun is kind of heavier set and you don't want to get a fat roll stuck in between the holster and the gun. Ask me how I know, okay? I want to make sure that anything that is touching the skin area is not going to hurt the person, because an uncomfortable holster, they won't want to wear it. Okay, they don't want to wear something that's going to pinch them or hurt them. Then I also got to think about where you're grabbing it at. Okay, so I got to think in my head of when I drop my hand on this gun, when it's in the holster, what's going to hit it. Because if my hand is touching the gun, is touching the holster at any part other than like right here, if my hand is hitting that, it's going to mess up my grip when I'm pulling it out. When you pull it out, then you have to do a re-grip. So I grab the gun like it's the last time I'll ever grab the gun, the same way I grab it every time, and I stick it in, and I'm still right there. Okay, that might not be much to some people, but it's enough that it can knock this finger out of place. So I'm going to touch it up a little bit. Now I'm just running my hands over anything, kind of a blind deal of looking at it, feeling it. Do another test fit. And it's good to go. Back over to the table, the other table. Now we're going to do the hardware.
Hit the 1 hour mark.
The other thing about holster making is I'm talking during this whole time. I'm talking, I'm moving around. So that's a a factor in my timeline. Most of the time when I'm building holsters, and I told Earl this, is I have the music cranked up in here like it's a rock concert, and I'm playing loud music. I'm playing loud music, and I'm focusing on what I'm doing. And here I'm focusing on what I'm saying.
That's funny. So, I was thinking about that in my head earlier. Whenever the first sheet you put on there, it was off. I was like, well, maybe because I'm distracting the fuck out of them right now, asking them a bunch of questions.
It was, it definitely was.
So obviously, the talking and having to explain things and whatnot, it's adding to this time.
Yes. If we redid this video and we had the music playing in the background, you'd see totally different.
Wow.
All right. Now this here is, I'm trimming out these edges, okay? Cosmetic, really. It is mainly just a cosmetic thing. But that person that dissed me about my holsters and the quality of the company that he works for, right here. You can't really see it on the camera, but can get something in there. But it's hitting right there on these little edges. All these little edges are burred out.
I feel it.
Yep. Why does that matter? Why is that a big deal? Because when guns go in and out of the holsters, unless you have done something beforehand to protect it, those little burrs will put rub marks on the gun. And there are some people, not like you and me, Earl, but there are some people out there in the world that are more worried about the looks of their gun than they are about training or the reliability of it. And when I'm in class and I take my loaded Glock 19 one of 500 collector item, Glock 19, don't tread on me guns that I paid $700 and some for, and I take it and it's loaded and I throw it over my shoulder, people freak out. And it's like, oh man, that's a collector's item. No, that's a gun.
It's a hammer. You got a hammer in this motherfucker?
Huh? Yeah. Down there, green handle. Always keep the deadliest weapon on hand.
A hammer. That's a Glock. It's a fucking hammer.
Hammers killed more people than guns have. Because they're more accessible and they're overlooked. Alright. We're having some technical difficulties with a screw. I don't want to play nice. There we go. You're going to play nice. If you like it or not. Now, where the retention is not on the bezel. It is actually up in here. I'm using this piece and this piece to hold the retention of it. So that is where the retention is. It's not on the bezel end of it. It could be if need be, but it's not there. Now, we need to figure out where we're going to put these. And this is where a little trial and error, taking a look, lining it up, trying to figure out, do you want a deep tuck? Do you want it deep tuck in there that you really have to dig in your pants? or you just want it right above hand. So figure that part out. Now, friendly reminder, kids, remove the gun before drill holes. That was a joke, people. Now we get some hardware. There's a holster maker out there saying, just take it apart, do it that way.
So what now?
Because I can't get my hand up in there.
Oh, you mean taking
the retention screw out.
So the holster makers get on each other's pages and comment?
Not mine. Because I am not afraid to tell you where to go.
But when you look around, like, it's like other people, they, talk shop with each other, like, hey, I like that method, or hey, you could do this.
So when I got into this business, I researched other companies, I followed their designs, I took some ideas from them, and then surfing around on the internet one night on YouTube, and I found a guy, Iggy, of Faltech Unlimited, that makes holsters, and I laughed at his content. That was just like, Iggy was funny. Some of the stuff he was doing, the off the wall little jokes, I was like, yep, this guy and I can be friends. And I've actually reached out to him and had him make a holster I couldn't do. Tony's holster, to be exact. Because I didn't have a Glock 34 mold, I didn't have access to a Glock 34 with the flashlight that he requested. So I got a hold of Iggy, knocked it out for me, and sent it out to me, and then I finished it up here in the shop and gave it to Tony and made sure that he knew that it was a joint effort. It wasn't just me. Because I give credit where credit's due. And I've learned a lot from that holster maker, Iggy, because he's been doing it a little bit longer than I have.
All right. I'm gonna. And it's only 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Gotta love technology, man. Now, were you going to put these on?
Oh no, I ordered those for my older holster that I had, the Blade Tech. I had the material of these loops is different than what the original I got. They're more rubberish, the ones I've got that came with that original holster. Well, over time they dry rotted, and you know, they just split apart. So now I like that holster, and I want to use it for. I actually currently use it for classes. I'll show people as one of my training props. I'll show them like, hey, this is the reason why you need to, you know, check your shit so often, because things can fail. But I want to get that holster back in operation so that I can use it in classes. That way, if a student doesn't have a holster or something like that, they can utilize it.
I got you.
Or, you know, the force on force classes. You know, if someone doesn't have an inside the waistband holster for a Glock 17, then boom, there's a holster that that person can use.
And I'm going to set this. I'm going to set this for 2 3/4. And I'll get that later. Or the vacuum oil, either one. Now, the reason why I didn't put Loctite on this one, okay, is because I don't know the way you want it. So, I set it for 2 3/4. Sometimes they need to go, or not 2 3/4. I can't remember. The common belt size is the middle one. The next one up is for the 2-inch belt.
Oh, the 1.75?
Yeah, 1.75. 2 3/4 is shotgun shell. And then 2-inch belt. These will wear over time. Someone's like, man, I don't want that. They wear over time, trust me. But I'd rather have it more secure on than trying to get out. Now, you see the white marks. So we go to our fancy cleaner. I'm going to step outside for a second, just so we're not getting fumes. I love the smell of gun oil in the morning.
So that going oil you put on there, that's just to clean the surface out.
Yeah, that just is to get the markings off of there.
And then from the grinding process over there, I noticed that produced a lot of particulate matter on there.
Yeah, so I'm getting that all off because it ends up like anything else.
It's like glitter.
Yeah, it's like glitter. We all had a stripper girlfriend, and everyone knew it because you were covered in glitter every morning. So, or was that just me? I don't know. And as you've seen, that your gun has it over. So, when I use a customer's gun, I make sure that I take care of every inch of it. And Then if it's a really cool gun, I end up test firing it to make sure that it still works. Not saying I ever, you know, shot some $1,000 guns. But do the final test fit, the shake, just to make sure that there's no questions in there. I'm just going to hold on to these.
Oh, so that someone say you weren't clamping?
Yeah, because I've actually seen people like,
and they're gripping the hell out of it.
or the see, my holsters don't fall out, you know. And we do the check, do the test, and here we go. We got a messy table now with everything.
All right, if you would take the gun out and hand me the holster here. All right, so I got both holsters in my hand off camera, and I'm going to show the one side of them. So, without rewinding and, you know, looking at the holsters and the shapes or whatnot, there's the back sides of them. So one of these is an NSR tactical holster, and the other is not. Let me cover up the front here where the logo might be. Alright, and here's the front side of these holsters. Almost identical. Almost. Now I'll let you go ahead and figure out which one may or may not be the NSR holster. Alright, so you've made your guess. Alright, so this one is the NSR holster. And we can see it's shaped slightly different. A little bit different shape. But it's going to be performing the same function. Both have the inside the waistband tuckable struts. I actually kind of like your buttons better because they're not as shiny, but
they'll end up shiny after quite a few years of use.
Alright, so look at the time. It is 10:09. So we started at 8:50, so I mean a little bit over an hour to get this done. It would have been a little bit shorter if a little goof up wasn't made on the first run on it, but simple enough. Just pull out a new sheet and reheat it. Now, the question that's going to remain is comfort. Which one feels better and whatnot. As far as, you know, which one's going to last longer, I mean, it's Kydex. I mean, hell. And you said you could notice a difference in them. I don't see what you're talking about. I guess you stare at this stuff more than I do, but looking at it,
the Kydex part of it all.
okay, maybe I'm seeing it now. This one has more texture, I guess, to it.
Yeah, and it might have been that he got a different run of it. He might have got the tactical black. He might got the all black. He might have got like on sale blemish, you know. And I do see a little white mark on there that I'll get off before you leave, but that's just my eyes seeing it.
You see a white mark on what? The one you made?
On the one I made.
Oh. Where?
Right there. I mean, yeah.
Nothing I would have noticed, or even care about.
And that's where just doing this all the time, looking at these things, a little quality control.
I mean, really, you can't even tell. I mean, even when you do look at it and stare at it and you say, oh, this Kydex looks a little bit different. I mean, they both look damn near the same. I mean, they're both hard. These struts, you said you ordered the NSR brand struts?
Yeah, I ordered the NSR.
So that's why they look the same.
Yeah.
Do you have struts that are not from NSR?
No. I do, but they don't have the soft loop attachment on there.
But they're the same almost width or whatever. Can you pull one of those out?
And all this is right here is you have to drill your own holes, and then it has its own little plastic. But
now you see that design right there was the kind of clip that was on my original Comptac holster when I had the older X200. And in the beginning it worked fine, but over time the back strut, in which it didn't have this aggressive of a hook on it either, it had like a little nub. Over time it spread, and then when I would bend down, the light of the gun would press into my leg and press the back side up, and my holster would completely come off. So that's why when I got upgraded to the X300 light and I wanted to keep with the Comptac brand, I ordered this style of clip so that the belt, it's kind of hard to explain it without putting the belt through it, but the belt will run like that, and then just the belt pressed against my body keeps this damn thing from coming off. And this is the holster that I went through those two combative classes with, and it never came off, never came out or anything. So when it comes to the mounting options, not a big fan of mounting options like this because I've experienced it fail. But this, if you're going to go with clips, this kind of design I think is the better design to go with. Overall though, loops are where it's at. Loops are, I mean, they're not, loops aren't, I don't think I've ever had a loop fail on me and come off on me. Like, loop is the way to keep the damn thing on in terms of inside the waistband.
Alright, so now we're done. I'm going to package it up and mail it out to you. You'll see it next year. Now, time period, I'll step back over. Time period of their manufacturing on this, they could have this done in less than an hour, and that's including the packaging. Because after this comes out of the half jig,
so when it's in a half jig, and to revisit what you talked about,
yeah.
So they have a mold that, like a hard plastic, where you got half the gun here and half the gun there, and then you put your Kydex over top of this and the t-shirt press, and it just presses it down into it.
They put it over, they hit a little button, it sucks it down. They got a little frame around it, it sucks it down. It kind of makes something that looks like this, this design. They take it, they pop it onto a trim mill, and they run it around a router, and they cut all the edges. Unlike what I did with freehand over there with the Dremel, they run it around and cut it with a router. They pop it off, they get a heat strip, they set it across, they form it, they take a gun, they put it in there, they clamp it over, they wait, it gets hard again, they drill their holes, or they might have already drilled their holes, they polish the edges, they put the hardware on it, and it is actually less than an hour. If I had the technology, I would have showed you. But what I did, vacuum to my homemade press.
Yeah, so obviously the vacuum is more
details.
Yeah, it's like more sucked to it.
But how much more detail do you need in a vacuum versus the one that does the exact same thing? The trigger is protected, okay? The retention is there, the hardware is there, and this is in your pants. Vacuum. The trigger is protected, it holds, the hardware there, and it's in your pants. Price-wise of, got the tension down a little bit. Price-wise of me doing something like this and them doing something like that, I have no idea what their price is, but something...
well, I could bring it up for you. I think, well, actually, the damn invoice is over here. Oh. Now, I did get this on sale. So what was the kid in Wisconsin that popped the pedophile with the AR during the riot?
Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yep.
So they had like this special going on, the Kyle Rittenhouse discount or whatever. But I got the holster. It's the custom C7, and I think it can come with just a single one. I want a double, so I think that double made it like maybe an extra $1 or $2. I'm not really sure, but on this invoice it shows this holster being $85. Now, like I said, I did get it during that sale or whatever, so it might be a little bit more. And then, of course, I ordered the package of loops, wherever the hell they went. So total, altogether, is $102.61. But just the holster itself on this invoice is $85.
Now, I threw my hands up here before you even said the price. I got 6 up there because I was going to tell you this holster right here for me would be $60. Okay? And that covers my work. It covers everything I needed to do. And covers all the parts in there. So $60. If I wanted to break this down, I would be breaking a holster maker trade secret on how much this all costs. People can go onto the internet and look up the prices, but I'm going to tell you right now that it's more of the time, the labor, and all the equipment that you see up in here. So did I make money off of this today? Well, maybe.
Yeah, you made money off of it. I ain't taking no free shit.
No, I'm just saying. My profit margin, like he did say, profit margin is very low. You cannot quit your day job and do this. This is the reason why I have 4 different jobs.
Okay, yeah. So even looking on their website, it lists it being $85, and then for the dual struts, that's $10 extra for that. And then there's a body shield that it mentions. Standard cut obviously doesn't cost anything. RMR cut is plus $10, and a Jaeger cut is plus $15. So there's some variables involved on how much something could cost, but yeah, base price for this custom holster was $85. Now the compact that I bought, I remember it being like, just itself was like $100-something, or it could have been like $95, and then plus the shipping and whatever, all that good stuff, it ended up being right around $100. Doing a quick search. So here's my nope, it was 89 altogether. It was $89. What the heck did I buy? I bought a holster that was somewhere around $100. Well, I got this on 4th of July, so maybe I got a, yep. Yeah, because total for this was $76.49, but I got a 4th of July discount, and without it, it would have been $89.99. So the current holster I use, I mean, almost same ballpark price range. All right, so that's about it. So we saw a holster being made in about an hour, and they look, I mean, other than some minor differences, they look almost the same. They're made from the same kind of material, got the same hardware on them. So yeah, now it's just a matter of me wearing one for a week and wearing the other for a week and deciding which one I like the best. And then of course doing some training with them, get through classes and whatnot, and see what it is. If you have any interest in getting holsters, this is Myke's info. All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, that is basically it.
All right, everyone. If you like what you see in here, go ahead and give me a like and a share. Head on over to Myke's page and do the same over there. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more videos. Earl Henderson with Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.